All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Greetings and salutations. Hope you all good-looking, sexy people out in Happy Land are doing well. This is the Live Drive Jive Archive Home Edition with your host, Frank Monday. Hope you guys can hear me all right. I don't know if you can or not. Give me a yo if you can hear me all right. Love to see them yos out in Happy Land. Let's see. So what's been going on lately? I thought I'd check in with y'all to let you know that I'm still kicking like a chicken, getting it done. So why have I been absent for the last few days? God, how long's it been? I think it's been a week since I've checked in with you guys, and I feel a little bit guilty about that because I had established a bit of a pattern here on YouTube where I have kind of a presence and I make a lot of routine videos. But as you may know, I told everyone that I was going on vacation. So we have entered into vacation here in Happy Land. And I remind you, we're broadcasting live Monday through Friday, typically, from the Celestial Kingdom, from the Central Kingdom of the Celestial Dragon here in Twilight Zone, Old Peking. But so, as some of you may know, hey, look, it's Monsieur Tiedrick. Good to see you, Jeff. So I was just explaining why I've been absent for I think a week now. I've taken like a solid week off. So as you guys, some of you may know, I work as an English teacher here in Beijing. And so our school, our academy, is on its winter vacation. And you know how it goes, the best laid plans of mice and men. I was going into the vacation with the full intention of getting a bunch of work done. And so day one, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hit the ground running. That way I don't get into hibernation mode and spend all of my time under the covers, right? But day one, I wasn't feeling it, and so I slept in a little bit late, and I missed my first Live Drive Jive Archive stream day, and then day one turned into day two. Don't smoke, kids. It's not good for you. And then before I knew it, I had slept for like an entire week. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been sleeping in pretty much every day. And the other thing, can you hear me all right? Give me a yo if you can hear me out there in Happy Land, Jeff. I appreciate those yos. So, yeah, the other thing is, due to the fact that all of the kids are out of school, it means that my kids are also at home. So it turned into a situation of me spending like 50% of my time in the kitchen cooking meals, and then the other 50% of my time entertaining my children. And when I say entertaining, I mean, helping them with their studies, because just because we're off from school doesn't mean that we can stop studying. You guys know how that goes. When you're a kid, you got to keep studying. So that's what I've been up to, man. I've been spending like all of my time doing domestic duties and then playing with my children's. I don't always bring the topic of my family into my live streams, but just to make you guys aware of that, if you've never tuned in before, this is the regular Live Drive Jive Archive with your host Frank Monday here in the Central Kingdom of the Celestial Dragon, Twilight Zone, Old Peking, where typically I do a Monday through Friday morning grind, and then sometimes an afternoon. What do they call that in intelligence community parlance? A debriefing Yeah, so a morning grind and then occasionally an evening debrief. So Jeff says it's always nice to wind down and take breaks. The earth goes through seasons, as does the body. Yeah, so I've been feeling tired and sleepy, and as you can see, got something red under my eye. So that's never any kind of fun. Yeah, so you got to take care of your health, and you got to relax and get enough me time in. So I've been trying to fire up a live stream the entire time since vacation started. So let me see here. Yeah, I do believe we've been in full vacation mode for like a solid week now. And in that week, I've literally got nothing done as far as like my goals for what I was going to do on vacation. None of that has happened. But what has happened is I've been a productive member of the family. So my wife, she likes to go out and do all of the shopping and stuff because she loves to spend money, and then she brings it home, and I help her organize it, you know. But then when I'm off, it seems like I will entail like 90% of the domestic duties, like cooking and cleaning and all that good happy horse shit. So I turn into house hubby, which is fine with me because I like being at home with the kids anyways, and she likes running, you know, driving the fucking gas out of the car. So anyway, I wanted to explain to you guys why I have been absent, but just because I have taken a little time off doesn't mean that I'm lost and gone forever. You know, like they say, out of sight, out of mind. And so the Google algorithm will probably punish me and not notify anybody that my video has gone live. But, you know, what are you going to do? You just roll with the punches. Give me a yo if you agree with that. That'll really put the fucking lead in your pencil. And the other day, it's funny, Tedrick, I wanted to do a little evening live stream, and I thought I had it scheduled perfect. And I was going to fire it up in the evening and have a glass of wine. And one thing led to another, man, and just best laid plans of mice and men. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, just nothing seems to fucking work out. So I am up and at 'em this morning. I've had my morning cup of Joe. In fact, I'm getting down to the bottom of it. I might want to make myself a second cup of Joe. I thought I would get you guys on page with the morning adorations and conjurations for Wednesday. If you saw the title of the video, I set it to Love, Community, and Black Magic. And so in this current world situation we're in, like everything is being held in abeyance by the Dark Celestials. And I was up listening to Steiner, Rudolf Steiner, you guys might know, and some of his material is just so miasmic and hard to cut through. Like, he talks about Lucifer, Ahriman, and the Christ consciousness. Yeah, not to worry. Just roll with the punches, right? So yeah, he talks about those things, and some of his material is so hard to penetrate. Like, I'll literally listen to, well, I started listening to Steiner only because of Dark Journalist. So DJ over at Dark Journalist, he's the one that turned me on to Steiner's material. And when I started listening to it, it struck me really of like, it has a lot of the tenets of Taoism. And so, hey, looks like Give Me Death or Give Me Freedom is out there. Good. Good to see you, sir, and welcome to the show. It's interesting. Your name, too, it always inspires me, Death or Freedom. Yo, 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 what up? Put the lead in your pencil. So freedom is the highest expression of the human being. And for man to do right because of goodness and because it's right to do right is only possible in a community of freedom. And so it got me to thinking about Steiner and some of the strange energy I was bringing back from Dreamland. And so Rudolf Steiner, in some of his teachings, he says that man has been separated from spirit by two demonic forces, Lucifer and Ahriman. And Lucifer, both of them are deceivers. All right. So cutting through the miasma of Steiner, to reiterate my point, my logic thread here. Some of it is so difficult to, like, you can, for example, you can listen to 100 hours of Steiner and maybe pull out only one or two gold nuggets of clarity and be like, wow, that guy talked a lot. There's just so many knowledge lectures, and so much of it is, I'm not going to say totally inapplicable or outdated, but some of it is just so beyond the scope of the ordinary layman that it really falls into realms of, yeah, so Monsieur Tiedrich says, he tried reading Steiner, but it seems like I have to give his information 100% of my attention, and I had it in the background, but I didn't digest it all. Yeah, so, like I said, I've been seeking to simplify and coalesce some of the Steiner understanding, because, yeah, you're going to run into like 95% of it, even if you're playing close attentive concentration to it, like 95% of it is just not really that applicable to any, I mean, I'm not going to say our, because I know that everybody's a little bit different, but it just doesn't seem to be that applicable to our day and age, and the way that individual practitioners along the way engage their life force in the material sphere. So I sit around and I listen and I try to pull out golden nuggets when I find them, and I've come across a couple recently, but I've been trying to delineate and make the distinction between Lucifer, Ahriman, and Christ. And so he mostly just talks about these three. So Lucifer and Ahriman are known as the great deceivers, right? The Satan forces. And then Satan's a whole nother thing entirely. But just focusing on Lucifer and Ahriman in the works of Steiner. So Lucifer deceives man inwardly and then tries to fill his mind with fantasies and illusions that lead him off the path of spiritual cultivation and obfuscate his mind to the deeper spiritual realities on the inward side of things. And then Ahriman casts the veil of Maya or materialism and deceives man too. So two deceivers, and deceives man outwardly in the material sphere. Is Lucifer Satan, or are they separate entities? Yeah, see, Steiner I've never heard him even say Satan, but he does talk about demonic forces or daemonic forces. So there are like subtle distinctions between the two. Like demonic forces, again, would be those outward manifestations in the world that are servants of Ahriman. So they cast the veil of Maya outwardly, like the things you see in the world that are a part of the material plane. And then so those are Ahrimanic. And then the Luciferic or the Luciferian, I guess satanic, the daemonic forces are those that deceive man inwardly. And from my own cultivation, what I've discovered is that they can both be deceptions in the Christ consciousness. So the Christ consciousness is this heart-centered, love-oriented enlightenment, right? If we look back to Christophorus and then Christophorus and the crystallization, it's still a light energy, right? So being enlightened, all three of these are indicative of being enlightened, but it's what you light up to. So inward deception is Lucifer, outward deception is Ahriman, and then cutting through the deception is the Christ consciousness. And again, it's one archetype. You could use others, but these are the only three that he really gets into. And so what was the main point of that idea? I took some notes here. So the main thing, I think, that what has been done with this black magic against man by dark celestials, these people who serve Lucifer and Ahriman, they serve these darker forces either wittingly or unwittingly. Obviously, some of them do it wittingly, because they consider the dark aspect to be sexy and attractive, and it pulls people into the material sphere, and they can be manipulated through sigil magic and misdirection. Like, look at the cleavage, look at the lingerie-clad women, and listen to our incantation, and become a part of our material decadence and indulgence, and bow to the god of the material sphere. Yeah, so the main attack of this black magic, what has it decimated? What has it really destroyed for the average, ordinary individual and its community? It's been an attack right at the heart of community, and they're even coming forward now and, referring to themselves as the elite, serve the corporatocracy, the technocracy, the oligarchy, and we as the elite, such and such, and so on and so forth. And so that's a tough pill to swallow, and it's directly antithetical to the French Renaissance, or the Enlightenment era, and the Transcendentalists and the forefathers of America, who's even now, they're just openly tearing down like statues of Thomas Jefferson and Albert Pike, and George Washington's next. They're gonna fucking rip down George Washington's statue, and it's like, well, why don't you just tear down the Statue of Liberty while you're at it? Just complete destruction of what was established as the true path of righteousness towards liberation and freedom is being shit all over. And that's a type of sacrifice of a culture that was the only one that was rooted in enlightenment. That's just brass tacks right there. All of the others have openly served the dark forces of tyranny and bending over and taking it straight up the ass by dictatorship. And so to shit all over the only symbol of freedom, yeah, Monsieur Tiedrick has a question out in Happy Land, which, yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you, Tiedrick, I would say that it's already begun. And when I say that, it's the weaponized culture meant to destroy the spirit of man and to make all people bow to the dark celestials in a system of total enslavement. There is no tri-state aggression that will ever affect the masters of black magic, those people who wear the dark robes and sit behind the scenes sucking on the blood of our children. The only thing they're going to do is open sacrifice of the serf class. So if you're not an elite, then yeah, the war has already begun, but like open movement of troops on a grand scale, no, I don't see that ever happening. The nuclear boogeyman is a total subterfuge. The idea of a division between the U.S., China, and Russia is a total subterfuge. The then Beijing Biden, when he was shoehorned into the position of shitting on the American flag, the first thing he did for his corporate overlords was to allow the Russian oil deal that Trump had backed off, right? There was all this talk about, Trump being a pawn of the Russian oligarchs, and the first thing Biden does was acquiesce to his Russian leaders, to his Russian handlers, and allow for a Russian deal to go through that was highly beneficial financially for Putin. So you can see that when it comes to the elites, they're all in bed together. So Biden's not even a real entity, right? So whoever is controlling that situation, I think it's Obama. I think a lot of people have come forward and said that, the same people who controlled Obama are still in control of that situation. And Trump was kind of the only wild card in the mix, which is probably bullshit too. These guys have got the news cycle planned out 10 years in advance. So if you're hearing news like that today, it's just to elicit a reaction out of you. Human beings are naturally reactionary, and so you hear that Rocket Man over in North Korea is shooting his missiles, test drive of the nuclear boogeyman. It's like, oh God, haven't you guys played that card dozens of times? It's like, do people even still buy into that anymore? And hopefully you don't. My father was on the nuclear program. He was in Navy intelligence, and he was a member of Operation Crossroads. I don't know if you know much about Operation Crossroads, but you could look into it, where they tested atomic bombs on the troops. His ship that he was on is a battleship, and at the Able Baker tests, they were supposed to be 13 miles from ground zero of the detonation of the test warhead, I forget the exact kilotons of the atomic bombs they detonated among these troops. There were 44,000 supposedly, right? You always got to question these numbers when it comes to the dark elite and what they reveal to the public. But supposedly there were 44,000 Navy troops there, and they tested 2 atomic weapons, one above the ocean and one beneath the ocean. So Pop's his test ship, the battleship he was on, and he was an officer at the time, was supposed to be 13 miles from the test center. Turns out they detonated those bombs 1 mile off the starboard side of his ship. His ship was literally 1 mile from ground zero of 2 atomic bombs being tested. And the guys were supposed to stand on the deck and wear like sunglasses and then watch the atomic bombs go off. So basically, and he was in tons of them. Yeah, it was, it's insane. But here's the takeaway: that number one, none of those bombs are as powerful as they say. The technology they have today, the supposed thermonuclear weapons that they have that are supposedly, just city destroyers or whatever, they're not that powerful. And then, so this kind of debunks the nuclear boogeyman card, that even if they launched all their rockets at the same time, it would not create a nuclear winter. The science behind it is not what we're being told that it is. And this is coming from a guy who was in on the projects with high Navy intelligence. And he used to just tell me this shit as a kid. Because I went home scared one day, and I was watching the atomic bomb footage in class, and they were telling us to get under our desk and cover our eyes and stuff, this kind of happy horse shit. And so I went home and I discussed it with my father, and this is a guy that, has all of the inside information, and I'm like, Dad, it's frightening. And he laughed, and he's like, no, it's not all that. He said they couldn't destroy the world with it. They couldn't even destroy, he said they could launch hundreds of them at a single city, and it wouldn't do much. Yeah, you might have some deep information on it, but everything you've been told in the mainstream media is a lie. And when you start to realize that, then you'll have a better understanding of what's going on. The Hiroshima and Nagasaki never really happened. The footage you see about it on television didn't happen. Cleaning up the waste sites or the supposed irradiated cities afterwards, it didn't happen. Didn't go down that way. The bombs didn't work the way they said they worked. It didn't kill as many people as they said it killed. But I don't really want to talk politics on my channel or discuss historic events, because even DJ got struck for supposedly imitating a historic event. So the truth of the matter That's exactly what I've been told. It's not what I'm saying. It doesn't fucking matter what I say, but what I've been told, and my opinion of the matter is, why would you ever worry about it? Good God, if Rocket Man's gonna launch his missile, then good fucking do it. Pull the trigger already. Quit pissing and moaning about it. Quit whining about it. The only thing that a WW3 is going to do is enslave and cull the population. It's got nothing to do with you fearing Russia. Russia openly drives their nuclear missiles through the United States on U.S. highways. I mean, there's Russian military operations ongoing within the United States. They work together with the elite to train their troops. There's ongoing military operations of the U.S. Army here in China. I mean, the whole batshit soup shenanigans started with U.S. Army down in Wuhan with the military games. With them training them and training the Chinese troops and how to use U.S. military created weapons and stuff. It's all just such a load of horse shit. Like, I laugh at Styx, Hex, and Hammer. I don't know if some of you guys watch Styx, Hex, and Hammer, but if you want your political commentary, tune into Styx, Hex, and Hammer, because he's always pulling out, the nuclear boogeyman card and waving it around, and oh my God, if there was nuclear war, blah blah blah. And it's like, oh good God, guys, they were whining about this prior to Fukushima. If anything like this ever happened, it'd be the end of the world. And then we saw Fukushima unwind, and the Japanese doctors there on ground zero of Fukushima were just like, oh, just drink more beer, watch more TV, who gives a fuck? It's never going to do anything to anyone. And they're like, oh, but the fish are irradiated and blah, blah, blah. I don't buy into it. It's all fear-mongering and scare tactics. The nuclear boogeyman power card is just another way to be evocative, to stir up your anxiety. I mean, it's one thing after another. Beijing Biden's administration is obviously failing. They're trying to tear down the remnants of the once great United States of America and bring in this new system of total insanity for the American people to devitalize the middle class and just make everybody so goddamn confused they can't even see what's up anymore. It's like transhumanism. That's supposed to be the new moral high ground, as opposed to the nuclear family model of mom and dad raising the kids. Yeah, total subterfuge, man. But yeah, it goes too far afield for the nature of this channel. So I've said my piece on that. Bringing us back to Lucifer and Ahriman, that would be okay. So yeah, that's a good example of Ahriman and Lucifer working together. The Ahrimanic deception is that these thermonuclear weapons are super powerful and could create an entire world-ending scenario, right? Oh, great, fantastic, bring it on then, if that's a reality. But it's not a reality. The truth is that with the Christ consciousness, according to Steiner, which is, in my interpolation of it, is empowerment and awakening of the central Dantian, of the Tiferet, the Tiferet sphere on the tree of life. So the Ahrimanic deception would bring you to the idea that the scientific materialism is 100%. And then Lucifer would reinforce that as a shadow of feeding that biosurvival anxiety within you. But then the Christ consciousness would give you the power and clarity to look through that and see that spirit is the animating factor behind all things. And so those aren't possible realities in any tangible sense. Anything that happens within the sphere of scientific materialism through the mainstream media is not an actual achievable reality. That they could not bring about a world-ending scenario because they really don't have the power to do that. And scientific materialism does not have the answer to create that kind of power within the material sphere. It just can't be done. You can't crack the egg. They think that they could, and they would like, well, here's the thing, they know that they can't. They know that they can't even crack the vault of heaven, you know. One of the things, if you study these nuclear tests throughout the 1950s and into the 1980s, you'll realize that some 5,000 nuclear warheads were detonated during that time period, and they couldn't even break through the vault of heaven. You know, that was one of the operation attempts. I believe it was Operation Starfish, is that they tried to crack the celestial vault. And so they were launching their biggest, most powerful weapons up into the Arctic region area of the celestial vault, trying to break through it and see if they could crack it. And they couldn't even do that, even with their biggest bombs. And they would say, oh yeah, we've made technological advances, but actually we haven't. All of the technology has regressed since that point in time. Like, you can't send them into the moon now. If you believe that they could, then you know, if you buy into little shit job video of they put a man on the moon. If you believe they put a man on the moon, then the big question is, well, why are you sending Tesla Roadsters into so-called low Earth orbit now? It's like, how does that make any kind of fucking sense? So supposedly all of that technology has been lost. And it's like, well, okay, if you guys lost all of like the most important technology in space, in the space race, then why should we believe that you've got anything more powerful than what you supposedly used at Hiroshima and Nagasaki? I mean, why would you think that? That's my question for you. Yeah, so too far afield for the confines of what I had endeavored and set out to do on this channel this morning. So let me get you guys on board with on page with what I got going on here this morning. So I had made a list for myself, and I didn't want to deviate too far afield from topic. So let me check it out. Oh no, Bluetooth died. How about now? Can you hear me? All right, yeah, I can see that my Bluetooth is not functioning. Background sound is bigger. Okay. So do we still have volume at all? Let me know. Give me a yo if you can hear me. Check my. Give me a yo if you can still hear me out in Happy Land. Yo, all right, good job. Thank you, Crystal. Yeah, so it looks like my Bluetooth died. Sad. That always kind of puts a little crank on it. A twist, yeah. So I didn't want to go too far afield. I conjure and call upon you, ye strong and holy angels, good and powerful in a strong name of fear and praise. Yea, Adonai, Elohim, Sade, 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 Iae, 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 Azamia, Azamia, and in the name of Adonai, God of Israel, who hath made the two great lights, and distinguished day from the night for the benefit of his creatures, and by the names of the all-discerning angels governing openly in the second house before the great angel Tetra, strong and powerful,
and by the name of his star, which is Mercury, and by the name of his seal, which is that of a powerful and honored God, I call upon thee, Raphael, and by the names mentioned above, thou great angel who presidest over the fourth day, and by the holy name which is written in the front of Aaron, created the most high priest, and by the names of all angels who are constant in the grace of Christ, and by the name and place of Amaluim, that you assist me in my labors, and bless all of us, on this most beloved Wednesday, day of Mercury. All right, yeah. So, politics and fear porn are not really where I go. Um, I prefer to cut through the intellectual dichotomy of the mainstream narrative and look right to the heart of what what matters for like each individual. I really have some irritation on my face this morning. I'm not gonna sweat it though. Let me check the chat real quick. Yeah, the sound went bad. Okay, maybe I'll have to reboot. Um, but yes, fear is strong, and it is definitely has been used. All right, welcome to the chat, Jill Gila. I can't really figure that name out. Good to see you, Gila. Good to see you, Crystal. Oh, it's faint. Yeah, bummer. Bummer. I don't think conspiracy theories are politics, Frank, but maybe we disagree on that. Let me see if that's gonna work. Uh, yeah. So the problem right now is, in order for me to be able to talk to you guys, I'll have to get up a little bit closer here on the microphone. Give me a yo if you can hear me better now, because I can't talk really loud. Everyone's sleeping, and that's pretty much the main reason that I haven't been going live recently. Thank you for that, yo, Crystal. I appreciate that. I haven't been going live recently because now that we're on vacation, the whole family is at home. And so, in order for me to go live and like even using the kitchen here, it would cause a lot of noise and wake everyone up, which is something I don't want to do. It's disrespectful. So I just haven't gone live recently. It's been a week. So my main point of today was just to check in with you guys and say hello and talk about where I'm at right now. Today's Wednesday, the 26th of January. The sun is in Aquarius. I woke at 4 a.m. and started listening to some Steiner and doing a little bit of writing of my own. And I was actually thinking about the strange energy from dreamland, and I woke up with really weird dreams, and then I sat and I reviewed them before getting up. You know, I like to sit in meditation upon waking and then go backwards through my dreamland experience. And I thought about which ideas I learned or saw in dreamland that I would want to write down and think about. And I started listening to Steiner, Rudolf Steiner, on one of his lectures, and he says that we shouldn't bring too much of the dreamland energy back, and that it can actually kill you. And if you wake up to entirely spiritualized energy, then you'll just die immediately. Like bringing all of that energy back from the spirit world will kill your physical body. And I thought, yeah, that's an interesting take. That people who see the spirit world the clearest are those people who have had out of body experiences and near death experiences. And I thought about, and I just heard this recently. I've heard him reiterate it a couple of times in his material. And so I have recently been in and out of dreamland quite deeply looking for spiritual secrets. And I realized that that might not be the best way, that maybe I should just get up and do my kung fu and my qigong with my kids and have fun with doing family stuff and not worry about bringing spiritual secrets to the layman, you know. And so the strange energy from dreamland, to know, to dare, to will, and to be silent. And that seems to be important, that last part. Um, so today I'm going to be working on just some of the things my kids want me to do. One of the ideas I wanted to address, though, was this whole idea of Steiner and something that he said: the highest expression of man is to do right because of the goodness of doing right alone. That we do right because it's right, not because of any particular reason. And also that this is only possible in a community of freedom. So it got me to thinking about man, heaven, love, community, and black magic. And then I was trying to make this distinction between Lucifer and Ahriman and the Christ consciousness. And I thought some of this Steiner material is just so miasmic that it's kind of hard to put into words. And I thought, well, just take your time with it. Yeah, Steiner's work is definitely interesting. So I'll just take my time with it and sort through it slowly as I compile my pamphlets that I want to elucidate in his work, because I think that some of it is really worthwhile. One of the pamphlets I think is really worthwhile is that the dead are among us. And it's kind of a small pamphlet, I think about 25 or 30 pages, on how we should still communicate with our dearly beloved, like people who have just recently passed into the realm of death. And so yeah, that's one of the things I'm doing. Other things, I've been playing with watercolors a little bit. You know, that's always some kind of fun stuff. But where does this begin? Yeah, so I started writing, and scientific materialism clearly has failed mankind. And by taking an extremely microscopic view of the primary plane, humankind has come under excessive negative scrutiny, and thus the naturalness of our being is being dichotomized nigh beyond recognition. So as an advocate of the essential divinity of the human creature, I think it's my duty to oppose tyranny in all its forms. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I like to do doodles and then just Crystal asked me if I took part in the occult priestess dream blessing during her dream show. No, I didn't. I didn't even catch that. I must have been busy. And then Nicholas Smith has joined the chat. Hi, Nicholas. Welcome. Crystal says, fun time in journaling. Yeah, journaling is fun. I like to journal. Yeah, so I drew the chariot the other day, and while I was writing, and this is my representation of the forces. So obviously you have the lower Dantian, which is the center of psychosexual energy, and so that burns hot like fire, right? And then above you have the upper Dantian, which is the Christ consciousness descending into man, and so it creates the water energy. And as those two forces commingle in the center Dantian, this is the seat of the Magi. So that's where That's where you gather these energies and they coagulate. Boaz and Joaquin, of course. Um, yeah, moving on. Um, so, for a message to be transmitted to the future, it cannot just be written down. It must, in fact, be conveyed mind to mind by living beings. And thus, people in our day and age seek out this type of living transmission more and more. And so, the real issue then is how to contact the state of mind that makes the transmission possible during the waking state, and to make the meaningful connections and be able to perceive direct communication from these realms, and to have a genuine knowledge of higher realms, so that these are real messages coming from these realms and are recorded. So that's part of my path, is going down this narrow valley. And so you can see the first great gate guardian here is sitting and watching, and on the wall of the valley it says, "No se te ipsum tu es dies." I won't get too much into the symbology in my journaling, but needless to say, there's a lot of major arcana influence behind it. So the state of mediumship can only be achieved when the ordinary man lets all that is earthly of his being be completely obstructed by lethargy. The burning of aromatic gums and resins damp down this earthly aspect of himself. Those visions which come to people through the use of alien and poisonous plants are not good examples of the reality of higher spiritual realms. They are actually of a lower and base nature, but the people who have them feel that the beings there are above them. So why is this? And it's because these people are themselves putting themselves below these alien and poisonous entities. So I was inspired in this idea, this line of thinking, and woke from dreamland thinking about this, because some people think that psychedelics and hallucinogens bring them to higher awareness of spiritual consciousness, but actually the opposite is true. It's more inward deception by Lucifer and Ahriman. So outward deception by Ahriman, we'll just codify it as deception by Ahriman and Lucifer. Nah, this is just a day-to-day journal. All right, so every being to some extent is a medium. They seek to introduce what they know of the art of writing. Mediums are able to bring forward many secrets of the unseen realms. When we enter the realms of the dead, we are immediately aware of the strange daemonic forms that surround the dead. It's a world far different from our own. When discussing the spiritual worlds, it is important to have a very clear and tangible understanding of them, and to avoid abstract illusions and fantasies of them. And it is easy to know if someone has genuinely gone into the realms with clarity and sobriety, and done so consciously based on the clarity of their descriptions and the knowledge that they possess. So, one of the things I was thinking about when doing a little bit of medium research, like meditative research, I was thinking about, yeah, right, I did a terrible job on that lion, but what can you do? I kind of I like the girl. I thought I did okay with her, the Empress. Um, so one of the things I was thinking about when writing this was that bringing forth some sort of clear, tangible expression of spiritual truth is really important. And I mean, I've spent an entire week in meditation and sleeping and not doing any live streams because I wanted to coalesce some sort of singular, big revelation. And so number 4, the fourth thing I wanted to talk about in this video today, which has already gone longer than I thought I wanted it to, I figured I'd be able to get it all done in 30 minutes, but I started paying attention to the chat, and it's taken a little longer than that. That's okay though. I got another 20 minutes I can go. Yeah, so when people subjugate themselves to the luciferic and harmonic influences through the use of hallucinogens, what they discover in those realms is not a genuine spiritual expression. And I know from personal experience, they seem wonderful and fanciful, but the real truth of the spirit world and dreamland is much more frightening and powerful than just the fantasy stirred up by poisonous and alien plants. However, the use of gums and resins and other types of uh, things can aid one if you need it, if there's a real or perceived need. Here's one of myself as a magi. Hey, thank you for that, Crystal. I really appreciate that. That's a dandy vote of confidence. Um, so I'll just finish off this last little part here, and then we can move on to the great secrets, right? So more importantly is that they are more real than our own waking reality. With these accounts, we are. Hey, did I miss one? Oh yeah, I missed one. I didn't read this one. I must have gotten distracted. Making a little adoration to Mars over here with that beloved tobacco. So there are certain plants on Earth that gather many of these foreign and alien energies, and thus mostly possess a kind of dark and aberrant energy that can be harmful to the path of spiritual knowledge. These beings can be perceived on the astral plane and can be known to the magi, or magus. These realms beyond our ordinary waking realm are in fact more real than our own reality. Thus, there are most certainly methods of reaching these realms with greater clarity and memory. Here's the hard part of that. Though you can reach into these realms, these deep underlying cosmic realms, um, they don't they don't operate the way that scientific materialism states that they do, with their string theories and their atom theories and so on and so forth. It just it doesn't really happen that way. And so, what's the point of this? What's the point of the Frank Monday channel and its its work in bringing forth a spiritual transmission? It's that we all collaborate and work together. I mean, come back later and in the comments section, leave your ideas on anything that I inspired you to think about, and give me feedback, because even with my synthesis of Steiner and Ni and Lao Tzu and Chuangzi and Gu Hong and all of the Taoist guys that I've studied, and then synthesizing that with like Carlos Castaneda and modern day magical practitioners and Poke Runyon, and I mean, we could mention names and faces and grimoires all day long, but it really comes down to the great work of each individual. And so please do come back and hit the like button. I see that only one person has hit the like button this morning, so if you are able to do that, please hit the old goose button. You guys know that that really puts the lead in my pencil. I had to blow out my candle there. It started to gutter. Um, yeah, so spiritual cultivation is like tending a candle. You know, there's a bright, luminous flame there, but you have to blow it out occasionally and trim the wick. and then you refire it and it'll burn more efficiently. So there are certainly methods for reaching these realms, and these visions are a consistent theme, and the realms are real. And so you can visit them through recurring dreams, is one way, and another way is through path working, which I think some of you are probably familiar with. Another way that has become popular in modern times is people who have had near death experiences. And so, true, very real encounters with the realms beyond is when people have a near death experience. And oftentimes, a person that has a near death experience brings back very tangible and worthwhile visions from those realms. So, if you are interested in those, they are helpful. And more importantly, there are more real than our own. Okay, where did we get to? Believe we're right about here. With these accounts, we face a very real conundrum, and that is how can we make use of this supersensory information and compile a working modern day cosmology that can be serviceable to the average individual? The truth is, most of this information is not only inaccessible to the average individual, but can also be an imposition to their ordinary lives, and thus is kept secret, and within small circles of living individuals who are directly engaging in the work of spiritual discovery. What does make sense is that rather than a single unified cosmology, is that there is an easily accessible method that any practitioner can utilize for self-discovery. And I believe that's as far as I got with that idea right there. So with that, y'all good looking sexy people out in Happy Land, please do hit the thumbs up if you enjoy the show. I know some people feel like that's too great of an imposition. It's hard to get over there and click on that button. But yeah, smash that like button for me if you would. Let's see, we've got a couple more parts here we need to do before we sign off. So yeah, we got to do a few shout outs. Thank you, Gila. I appreciate that. You're one of two that has hit the like button this morning. Thank you for that, guys. I appreciate it. You know how much that puts the lead in my pencil. All right, so one shout out that I really wanted to make today was for Dark Journalist. So make sure you guys get over there and check out DJ. I think that he's going live later today, so that'll be fun. That's always good fun. Another one I wanted to make was for the channel Esoterica. So if you guys haven't already seen Esoterica, make sure you get over there and check him out. Join me on Instagram if you think you might want to have a little look at my silly watercolors that I've been doing recently. I do post those on Instagram, so make sure you get over there and check that out. I really got kind of a rash on my face today. That's no kind of fun. I didn't even check that before I went live. I should have put on some lotion. Y'all good looking sexy people, stay well out in Happy Land. Thanks for joining me. I'm glad that I was able to go live this morning and be with you here on the boob tube. Shout outs and blurps. Oh, I have been doing work on the 100-day magical challenge and getting all of that information ready to bring forward, as well as the pamphlets I'm making. Yeah, I got Facebook. Just look up Frank Monday on Facebook. You'll find me. Look up Frank Monday on Instagram. You'll find me there. Just check the About section on my channel here. A lot of people forget to do that, I guess. Whenever I get interested in a YouTuber, that's the first thing I do is go and see if they have email an email address available, and yeah, so I've got all of that. I've got big secrets for the future. I'm working on I'm working on a project called Eureka 23. So that's about the 23rd current and the esoteric order of Dagon. So keep tuned, and I will see you all good-looking, sexy people in the abodes of the future. Thanks for joining me today. Whoops, whoops. Let me check the chat real quick and make sure I get a shout out to everyone. Jila, Jiiilaa. Jila, thanks for joining me, man. I don't think I've ever met you before. I think I've seen you a couple of times out there in the chat. Please come back and leave a comment and let me know a little bit about yourself. Give me death or freedom. Thank you for tuning in, man. Holy shit, it's indescribable. Give the man a thumb already. Yeah, so looks like I got 2 of you to give me a thumb. Crystal, thanks for joining. Monsieur Tidrick, good to see you again, sir. I'm still planning a wine lover's debut with you. What do you think about dreams? Do you feel that they are real, and when you wake up into this reality, you're totally tired, like you've been wake up all the time? Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about Dreamland in the future because there's definitely a lot of material on that. And over the last week, Gila, I've spent pretty much all of my time in Dreamland, roaming the corridors of Dreamland. Thank you, Crystal, and I hope that you sub and hit that Pavlonian bell. That'll keep you barking like a dog, right? I appreciate y'all good-looking, sexy people. Frank, when are we going to get that wine with Frank show? Yeah, I'm working on that, Monsieur Tidrick. I've been thinking about it, and I've got a bottle of wine already, and I'm planning it. I just the timing has to line up. Alrighty, good show, y'all. So keep on keeping on, and good magic. I will see you in the abodes of the future. Until then, bye for now. To know, to dare, and to be silent.